Welcome to Kombucha and OT, the podcast where we get to drink lovely kombucha and discuss amazing topics in the therapy world.
Hi, everybody. So happy to be here. It's kind of weird that we're on video.
I don't like it so far, but our manager, Cody, that volunteers his time, told us we should get on YouTube and definitely have visual video of our podcast. And we kind of liked the whole don't brush your hair and come on and do the podcast. So,
For sure.
but Cody knows best, and we're going to give this a whirl. I have something to surprise you with, Shonda.
Oh, I love surprises. What do you got?
So Cody sent me a comment we got recently. And we get good ones and we get good topic ideas, but this one wasn't a topic idea. It was about us, and I just want to read it to you. Ready?
Yes, I'm very excited about this.
This was yesterday. Somebody wrote, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say the name, so I won't, but thank you. We'll call her Jay. Thank you for giving back to the profession and others with no financial gain for yourself. That's rare nowadays. Thank you, Jay, we'll call you. Thank you for saying that. We love providing information on OT and kombucha if you're interested in that too. But thank you for saying that, because I want to thank you, because nowadays in the social media world, that's very new to us. A lot of times people only comment when there's something negative. So the fact that you took the time to comment something positive was huge. So I wanted to share that with you, Shonda, hot off the press.
That's really cool. That made my day, honestly. So thank you, Jay. I agree. There's a lot of negativity that happens out there, but there's also a lot of wonderful, positive things that happen. So I love it whenever we can bring that to light, because I think that's what OT is all about, in general. So that's really cool. That was nice.
And you're inspiring us to keep going and getting the information out there of real world scenarios with OT. So yeah, thank you for that comment. Today's kombucha world, I have homebrew root beer, because Cody said, Mom, you haven't made root beer in a while. This is agave root beer.
Huh.
So it tastes a little different, but it's really good. And what I love about it is when you take a drink, you get the root beer. The agave has there's no sweetness left because the fermentation, but the agave leaves a little bite. The root beer flavor is delicious. It's very carbonated. You can't really tell, but it's very carbonated. But I love this one because when you go to take a drink, you get to smell the root beer before you take a drink, and you're like ready for it. So I love this one. And when I see you next week, I'll make sure you get some root beer, Shonda. And then I wanted to show, since we're on video, the different colors. So this is blood orange, and you can see where it keeps that color, even though the fermentation process, and you can see
that's my favorite that you make. And the blueberry, but the blood orange.
And this is the root beer. And then I made the ginger blueberry and then just blueberry. And then I keep saying I'm going to make pineapple, but I got out the pineapple and I'm going to make pineapple for the next batch. So very exciting. I don't know if
pineapple coconut, like a pina colada.
That would be delicious. I was thinking coconut lime, but put a lime in the coconut.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm gone now to a tropical island. Oh, and I'm back. I don't know if we've met since Cody got into PTA school. So our wonderful producer is now in PTA school. And also a shout out to Cody. His YouTube channel is called This Kid's Opinion, TKO, Cody Underwood. If you look it up, he has blown up with his subscribers. I think he's at nearing 2,500. Yeah, which is really cool. So
I got to
he
look
knows
at it.
he knows what he's doing and when he's helping us and giving us advice. So I have to remember we're on camera. And that's going to be the hard part. I need like a big post-it note. So
Okay, hold on. I need to know more about really quick. I know we have other stuff to talk about, but I need to know more about this kid's opinion. What is like what does he talk about? Just his
so
opinion on
he started out doing it. He started out doing it on UFC. Like he would predict the fights, what was going to happen, and then come back and say, "Yeah, I was off on that one," or "I was good on that one." Um, Years ago, when he was a little kid, he would do like little filmmaking on it, like little kid. So he's definitely been on there a long time. But this kid's opinion is it was on UFC, then it went to sports. Now he's doing sports and gaming and simulated gaming. So I don't understand it all, but
yeah.
he's amazing. So it could be movies, like he just did a whole episode on Marvel and the Marvel movies. And so he nerds out, man, nerds out on all that cool stuff. And so he's gathering from lots of different, interests from people because he's interested in so many things. So I have the kombucha jar, and it's so funny because I've said on this before that it's become a collect all. So you can see there's a little car in there. I don't know if you can see. I'll get it out. I found this from Cody's childhood.
His
And I was
car.
like, it's from the Cars movie. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to keep that. And so it's in the kombucha jar. And this is a piece to my laminator. And it's in the. So you see the real kombucha jar that we have. Oh, there's a receipt for Walmart. You get to see the real kombucha jar that is on my desk. And that's whenever we get an idea, we do truly throw it into the jar. So people that thought, I wonder if they really do. Yep.
Yep.
We have a kombucha jar. So I'm going to pull it.
All right. What do you got? What do you got?
I don't know if we've done this one before. I'm trying to think. How to get a job. Like, it says how to get a job, but have we done that one before? No, you know what? We did interviewing only. So that's good. We can do this
Yeah.
one.
I think there's a lot to that. I think that's a pretty large topic. So I think we can hit a lot of things.
Yeah, we've done interviewing before, as far as I know. But actually nailing the job or what goes into getting your first job as a new grad, that's a good one. Good idea. So what do you want to share? I'm thirsty.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm drinking pineapple kombucha, but it doesn't have coconut. And that's what gave me the idea of coconut. And I think it would be delicious. I don't know that I like the root beer. I feel like it tasted like black licorice. Was that, or am I thinking of another flavor?
I love the root beer.
Okay. Okay. There was something else that tasted like black licorice.
It
Anyway.
was anise, which is black licorice.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Which is very similar. So you're right. You did not like that one. Oh, now try one on camera. They'll be able to see your face.
I don't hide that well. Let's start with, what if we do kind of like do's and don'ts as you're trying to get a job, maybe things to think about that you may not necessarily think about going into a professional interview.
So some interviews are, I know we've talked about interviewing before, but some interviews are virtual now too. So either way, whether it's in person or virtual, dress for success.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. I have literally had managers tell me that new grads have shown up in sweats, shorts, things that weren't very professional. If you're scheduling an interview and it's, in the middle of your day and you're running other errands, you still need to be prepared for that interview and dress appropriately, in my opinion. Now, I do know that some people don't mind scrubs. In fact, I think that if you're going to wear something that's comfortable, so to speak,
but if you're a grad coming off your clinical rotation for that interview, they'll expect you to be in scrubs.
Sure. Yeah.
or khakis and a polo if it's, an outpatient clinic or something.
Yeah.
They'll expect that. That won't be like a red flag. But if you're not on your clinic rotation when you're going to the interview, or it is a virtual interview, dress for success. Like,
Mm-hmm.
business casual or more. Like, don't I can't imagine sweats. I just read an article, I can't remember where it was originated, but it talked about new grads in all professions, not therapy, because I can't even imagine this happening, but they're bringing their parents to the interview. Have you heard that?
Stop it. No, come on.
Yeah.
Like
And
in
first thing,
the interview, not waiting for them in the car?
they're bringing them into the interview, not waiting out in the car or the waiting area if there's a waiting area. They're bringing them into the interview, and I thought I would never go to an
Wait,
interview with
I
Cody.
can't even. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I hope nobody's listening that
Yeah, I just don't.
I don't.
Don't understand why they thought it was a good idea.
Security, maybe? I
But
don't know.
it's more than just one person because it was part of this article, and it had
Wow.
percentages. I'll see if I can look it up. You keep talking.
Yeah, well, something that I think you said that's very important and that we don't think about as much anymore is dress for success. And I'll say that because even not just for the interview sake, but also you feel better, you feel more confident, you feel ready for what is going to come your way with questions and things like that. If you feel presentable and you feel professional. So I think it's important to keep that in mind too, is while your appearance, isn't necessarily everything, how it makes you feel, though, is going to come across in the interview. So dress for success is a good way to put it, I think. I think that that's a very functional way to look at an interview. Because if you're dressed up and your hair's done and you have on nice clothes, you're going to feel more confident, you're going to feel more professional, you're going to feel more powerful. So don't go to an interview in sweats or shorts.
Nope. I'm definitely looking to see it.
But that's intriguing to me. And I know that there's a lot of things going on in our world right now where, people are living in one household, and maybe some of our younger folks are staying at home a little bit longer to save money, which is smart. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. But I don't know, taking your parent to an interview, that's next level interesting to me. And the
Yeah.
parents, like if one of my kids said, "Mom, I need you to come to the interview with me," I would be like, that's a hard no.
No, I think there's a way to help like practice for it.
Yes.
Um,
That's so interesting to me.
I can't find it. There's a lot of articles though.
I wonder if that's kind of related
I'll
to
find it later.
anxiety or something, because I
I
know
don't
there's a
know.
lot to do with anxiety anymore too.
I don't know, but I mean, if you're thinking of it, it's not a good idea. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
No, no. Show up ready to work that next day. Like,
Yeah,
you're going to hire me and I'm ready to go.
that's right.
So I think we've talked probably a lot about the interview process, but once the interview's over, maybe we didn't talk about that. I don't know. We might have, but once the interview's over, you may have 4 offers on the table.
Yes.
So I don't know if a new grad, like, it's tough to navigate that world. Like, oh my gosh, I don't want to lose out on any. Or you had a recent graduate that said, I want all of them, and I don't want to disappoint anyone.
That was a big thing for that particular person. They really are having a hard time feeling like they're going to disappoint somebody. And I think that that's also, eh, whenever you're younger, you have that mindset a little bit, especially going into a career. So yeah, I don't know. Pros and cons lists are great, in my opinion.
That's what I was going to say. I always, when I meet with new grads, or while they're students, I always say that um, pros and cons are just write down the things that are important to you, and then at the top, what's each company offer. And if mentorship is important to you, and 2 out of the 3 provide that, well, those are top 2 choices. If you have mentorship as your number one,
Hmm.
if free health insurance is important to you, and that's number 2, and 3 out of the 4 have that, well, you kind of already narrowed down that that one isn't going to meet your top 2 things that are important to you. So
Yep.
they're out of the running. I don't care if they pay more. If the top 2 things that are important to you
Yep.
aren't going to even be an option at that company,
Yeah.
then goodbye, um, bachelor number 1. And you move on to those.
Yeah.
And then you have narrowed down one, and maybe you are disappointing them because they wanted you for the job, but you're not disappointing yourself.
Yep.
And the other 2, one might have a higher rate, but the other one has this, and one might have a lower rate, but they have this, and all of it together as a package is what you're looking at. And this is a great place to use your parents. Sit down with them, and they have real world experience. Go over the job offers that you have with them. That's a great place to insert, hey parent, I need your help, not
Yeah.
walk into the interview with me. I think those pros and cons lists, like you said, that is so important. But it's important to not just take what they told you and write down. If you first put down what's important to you and then matched what they said, I think
Yep.
that's a little trick that they don't, if you don't get right out of school sometimes, that'll really help you narrow down. And then sometimes you're so limited on where you want to be, and you want to be in this certain area, in this certain population, doing this one thing. And there may only be one offer, and it may not be what you really want, but you have limited yourself so much that if they are providing everything that you want except for that high rate, you may negotiate and get a little bit better rate, but you may want to take that because you have narrowed down to where other people have those 4 offers and you really just have the one. Doesn't mean that you can't negotiate and talk, but
Yeah.
I tell new grads all the time, have a number in mind. And sometimes as a new grad, you don't have one. If you can find somebody to help you, looking online is not always great. A lot
Hmm.
of those online salary things, um, you people put in their own. They're different years of experience. They're in different states. Some could be rural and they're making way more than somebody in a city. So it's supposed to average all that out, but that's really tough as a new grad to look at.
It
So
is.
if you have the 4 offers, then you find that median and you're like, okay, when I talk to the next person, this is kind of where they should be in the middle of all that, all the offers that I already have. So you're gathering information. It's okay to talk to other companies, but don't go with just the one that has the higher rate.
Yeah, I think that's a good point because also different settings are going to pay differently too. And so whenever you're averaging all of that out, you have to take that into consideration. I want to kind of back up a little bit on some things that you touched that I think are very important. So maybe as you are kind of winding down your last week or two in your final rotation, maybe you start your, I guess, your pro list, if you will, or your list that things of importance to you and what you look for in a job, and narrow that down to where you have maybe top 3 or top 5, whatever the case may be. And you have your number 1 and 2, because that's a very good point. If you have that, then it's easy to go back and compare the different offers to your list. That way, you're not looking at it from their point of view per se. It's from what things, the things that are valuable and important to you. And then you can eliminate rather than being stressed out about, who you're going to disappoint is this the right decision for me and all of that. So I think that's a really good point.
If you're talking with one company and they're saying a lot, they're hitting a lot of the great things that you didn't even think of, but you're like, oh, that's good. Write those things down. So when you're talking to the next company, if they don't say them, you can give them an opportunity to go from your list and say, do you have this? Do you have this? Because you're gathering. And then they may have something to add to your list so that when you talk to the next person, but also give the first company a chance to answer back too. Once you've gathered, 4 or 5 things you didn't really know to ask, go back to that first company and give them an opportunity to, because maybe they have it too. And then you really have collected all the research possible to make that informed decision.
Yeah. And something else that I want to say that you need to be careful of if you're that person that is fortunate enough to have 1, 2, 3, 4 offers on the table, that's wonderful and it's a great feeling. But you also don't want to sit on that too long, because
Exactly.
what I can tell you is while companies may tell you, oh, yes, we can hold this for a couple of weeks, the reality is they are still looking, they are still recruiting. And it would be very unfortunate if you have 4 offers or 5 offers or 2 offers on the table and you're really struggling to make a decision. And then you go back finally after a couple of weeks and now they've said, oh, I'm sorry, we do have another candidate, so we're going to have to take another look at this.
If you've narrowed it down to 2, you take 1 full-time, it's okay to ask the second one if you can do PRN.
Yep.
1 Saturday a month. It's going to help pay your school loans. 2 Friday afternoons a month, whatever you want to do. If they're in need, or if it's just they can call you and you can say yes or no. But then you're not disappointing anyone, except you didn't take the full time with both places, but you also get to experience both settings or both things that were important to you if you've narrowed it down to 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's an option with us. It's really amazing that we can do that. Giving up 1 Saturday and Sunday or 2 Saturdays a month isn't too much out of our lives. And you're able to say yes to both, really.
That's a really good point. And I think that that's something to really consider, because that does allow you to kind of make that decision in a more timely manner. And the therapy world is very small. So and the nice thing about the therapy world is, let's say you have 2 offers on the table and one is a skilled setting and one is outpatient or pediatric. And you're like, well, the skilled setting, that's kind of where I did most of my rotations. I loved it. I think that's I'm more comfortable there right now as I'm gaining experience. And you decide to go with that setting for a while. And then maybe you shift gears in 5 years or 2 years and take the peds
That's okay.
session. And that's okay too. So I think that's a really valid point on the PRN option as, a second choice.
Yep. So finding the job, Indeed is great. Recruiters, if you get bombarded, I get about 3 a week. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Job offers, text, email, however it comes through. Don't stop getting those. Keep those alerts coming, because you'll see what's out there. You'll see different things and different things come up. Doesn't mean you're always job hopping, but you're keeping your options open, but you're also seeing what other, companies are doing, and you're getting those alerts. It takes 2 seconds to just delete it or bypass it or whatever. But if you are ever having a really bad day and you want options, you'll have those contacts already in your phone as options. So recruiters, the job boards, social media, there's so many different ways to find a job. But one of the main ways to get a job is securing that job while you're on your clinical rotation.
Yeah.
Many people secure the job right then. And it could be that they're on their first level to, or their first terminal, or their first, whatever you're going to call it, their first of the last two, and they secure the job there, and they still have that other whole rotation to go to, but that job's willing to wait for them to pass their boards and all of that. Keep in communication. If you have set up with a couple companies and you're like, I'm choosing between you two, I just need some time, keep in contact with them. Let them know you're still interested. Let them know you still want that job, because they're more apt to wait on, and they'll use PRN until they get you if they know you're still there, you're still involved. So keep talking with them. Let them know how things are going. Let them know my boards are next week, so they can root you on. Let them know when you pass your boards. Let them know when you, okay, I've graduated, I'm going to do the temp license. And, how does that process work? However you're going to do it, start doing all of that during your clinical rotations, making those connections so that you'll have one less thing to worry about when it is time to sign on that dotted line. And we have new grads that sign before they graduate.
Yep. That's a really good too.
One less thing to have on their plate. They know they have the job secured. Now let's focus on studying for my boards.
That's right. That's a really good point. The communication piece of it, because it is, as you kind of wind down towards the end of your rotation, the end of school, and oh my gosh, so many things are going on. You have so much on your plate. We definitely understand that. But put an alarm in your phone, something to reach out and keep that communication line open.
I like that. Alarm on the phone, and a calendar alert. That's really good, because that will alert you to it.
Yep.
So that's our 2 cents on securing that job, finding that job, and going through the negotiation process. It is okay to negotiate. They may be stuck at a rate because that's what they're budgeted for. And it's okay to ask, but they might be stuck there, and that's okay too, because you're looking at everything, looking at the whole picture, and that might really ultimately end up working for you. So thank you for joining us today. It was a great topic. We appreciate it. And we hope everyone has a great rest of your day, and keep on listening.
Bye, guys.